Go download my free legato course right now and learn to play fast in the fastest way possible. Hey! I'm very happy to see you watching this video, because in it I'm going to give you the overall secret that anybody can use to get to the point they want to go to as fast as possible, because every single one of us out there has an area that we're not focusing on that would take every other skill we know to the highest level. So I promise you, if you spend just a couple of months on this area, we won't be able to recognize your playing style afterwards. Guaranteed. So, what is it? Well, before I tell you, I'm just going to tell you about how I got to the realization that this was really what most people is missing in their playing, and it would make a huge difference if they focused on it. But so how do I discover this? Well, I was practicing, right? And I was kind of always puzzled, as you are, as to what to practice next. What's the next cool thing, or what's the next best thing that I can practice that will make, give me the greatest difference? Because in the beginning, you practice everything, right? You want to practice chords, and you want to practice strumming, and you practice a little bit of soloing, you practice songs, you practice rhythm, you practice all kinds of things, right? Alternate picking, sweep picking, whatever you're into. And so, but as you practice, you get confused and you say, okay, what should I practice next? Where's my, weak spots and all of this? And I always tell people to focus on two things. First of all, you can go by the logical thing and say, where's my weak spots? What is it that I need to work on so I can get all my skills up to par? And the second one is to listen to your emotions, basically, because that's what most people fail to do when they ask that question. That I don't care how much logic you use, but you can't practice and get results unless you're passionate about it. If you're passionate about doing the most logical thing, the thing that makes most sense as to what you should be practicing from a logical, theoretical perspective of where you have your weak spots, then that's great if you're passionate about that. But if you're not, then just go practice whatever you think is the most exciting to practice, because that's where we get results. But we're so used to, from going to school, of trying to learn stuff that we don't care about. Basically, right? We have a curriculum and we go step by step towards whatever it is that we want to learn. And that rarely works. Just think about how much you remember from public school, the basic years there in school. How much do you remember from history lessons? It's almost nothing, right? Or just a couple of pieces here and there, right? And that's simply because you weren't interested in it. It didn't turn you on. There was no passion surrounding that. So, but when you look at it from a logical perspective, here's the way to do it. And that's what led me to the point where I could say what everybody needs to practice. And it's the fact that if, let's say you want to become great at soloing, right? You want to be able to produce great blues solos. Let's just say that. Okay, so what do you need? Well, I need to practice scales, right? And I can basically just do with just a first position blues scale. But perhaps I want to add the Dorian add the Dorian mode or the Dorian scale, whatever you want to call it, to the mix. Maybe I want to add some arpeggios, minor arpeggio to the mix, and some diminished arpeggios. Those are the tools, right? Scales and arpeggios. And then of course I want to be able to have the notes come out with my left hand. So I need left hand technique, but I also need right hand technique, right? In order to do it. And then perhaps I need, to practice some licks and some sequences to get started playing cool solos, right? And that seems to be the elements that most people focus on. But there's one important one missing. But let's just say that those are all the things you've laid out. Well, if you are very good at alternate picking, we won't hear that skill come out if you don't know any scales, because we won't hear you soloing. If you got great alternate picking skills and you got great scale skills, but you haven't really practiced improvising, so you don't know what to do, you just go... You got these two skills at the highest level, but because you don't have any licks down, any sequences, you haven't practiced using them, ending and beginning them, then nothing comes out. So you can be the supreme world-class master of alternate picking, the supreme world-class master of blues scales, Dorian scales, arpeggios. You got all that down. But because you don't know how to put it together, because you don't, got any licks down, you got no technique, no phrasing skills, right? You got no vibrato, then we won't hear what you can do. So it's very easy from a logical perspective to look at, well, when I start practicing licks and sequences and improvisation, then suddenly we will hear your alternate picking skills. Then suddenly we will hear your scale skills come out. That's why most people walk around with lots of skills, but because they need a missing ingredient in their playing skills, we don't hear it come out. They can be, really good alternate picking players, or, they got the scale down and they got sequences down, but because they missed this one lacking skill, they sound like amateurs. Amateurs. Whatever they do, it comes out like, oh, you're a beginner or you're an intermediate. It never sounds professional. Right? So when you look at your skills, you want to look for the weakest child in the family. If the whole of the family is supposed to, finish first out of many other families, what determines whether they get there or not first? It's the slowest child in the family. So out of all your skills when it comes to soloing, what is the slowest child? What is your weakest key skill? When it comes to playing songs, what is your weakest key skill? Is it every time you get to that place where you have to play an A flat major and you can't do the open string chord, but you have to go to a bar chord? Is bar chords your weakest key skill? If you just mastered bar chords, could you play any song? And yeah, I could. Okay, then you become very good at playing barré chords or bar chords, and then suddenly you realize that it's your strumming ability that's your weakest key skill. Then you take that up to, and then bam, total revolution in your skill level, because people can hear that suddenly you can play everything, right? But then you want to sing, and then you can't sing as you strum. So that's the next weakest key skill, right? And then as you get all these skills down, your skill level explodes because you're working like that. Every single time you focused on the weakest key skill and bring it up so we can hear all the other skills come to life that you've been practicing. But there's one general skill that can do more for your development than any other single thing you can focus on. And it's something we forget. It's something that is in everything we do. And its name is rhythm. If you got rhythm skills down, you can play a couple of notes and you still sound like a pro. If you got rhythm skills down, you can play a couple of chords and you still sound like a pro. Just think about, say you play a song and you're kind of stumbling on the rhythm and you have to stick to the strumming pattern that you learned, because if anything else happens, you come out of it. You have to start over, right? That's rhythm skills. So you can't do... Right? You can't do stuff like that. You can't be playful because you don't have your rhythm skills down. It's like soloing. You know that feeling of playing something and then you stumble. You don't know how to end the line that you're playing or the lick. That's rhythm skills, right? You go, right? And you go, right? And you don't know how to end it. And so you stumble, and that's rhythm skills as well. So it's everywhere. And the second you actually master rhythm skills, it's like you can just play a couple of notes, you can play a couple of chords, and suddenly you sound like a pro, and people really hear that, and you hear that. So by focusing on your rhythm skills, your whole identity changes as a guitar player, because now you can really sound like a pro. You got more skills in some areas than some professional musicians, but because you don't master these rhythm skills, you end up sounding like the eternal intermediate. So let me just play something. Right? And you got some soloing going. I'm using 4 notes here, right? It's really, and because I have my rhythm skills down, I can... You hear that? It really makes playing totally fun because now you're in control. Of course, there's, picking skills involved and scales and, but it's the rhythm skills. It's 50% of music, for creep's sakes, right? But it only takes you like 5-10% to learn compared to all the other things you have to practice. But we overlook it because it's just a hidden ingredient in everything we do. We learn to strum and play, we learn scales, we learn licks. And licks have rhythm to them as well. But we don't focus on it as a separate skill. Once you start doing that and you do it with focus and intensity over a period of time, everything changes. So start thinking about that. And go check out our new program here, Origin, on the link below the video if you haven't already done. But you don't need our program to start practicing rhythm. Think about this and think about when you listen to other players that play very simple stuff. Why does that guy sound so professional? What is it that separates him from you when you play two notes? It's rhythm.
Subscribe for more free videos. Do it. Do it now. Do it.